Welcome students to my channel Rendezvous with Reena. Today we will be talking about the play On the Face of It by Suzanne Hill, which is a heart-rendering account of the life of the physically challenged people in search of a foothold for a happy and a contented life. The play brings forth not just the actual pain or the inconvenience of the grim and the sad world of the physically impaired people, but also the attitude of the people around them. Suzanne Hill is an English author who has won the Somerset Maugham Award in the year 1971 for the book I Am the King of the Castle. She was also awarded the 1972 Whitbread Novel Award for The Birth of the Night, which was also shortlisted for the Booker Prize. Suzanne Hill was also appointed as a commander of the Order of the British Empires in 2012 Queen's Birthday Honours List for her services to literature. The play deals with a sense of loss, a sense of isolation, and how to overcome it. The actual pain caused by the physical impairment is much less than the sense of alienation felt by the person. The title On the Face of It is used to mean that something seems to be good when we take a glimpse of it, but upon closer look, it is not so, or vice versa. The play revolves around two characters, Derry, a 14-year-old boy, and Mr. Lamb, an old man. Derry got his face burned on one side due to acid, and Mr. Lamb lost his leg in the bomb explosion during the war. Derry is repulsive and negative in his attitude towards life. He avoids people, whereas Mr. Lamb is optimistic. So one day, Derry climbs over the garden wall of a supposedly empty house and is surprised when Mr. Lamb, the owner of the house, addresses him. Derry wishes to leave, but Mr. Lamb starts conversing with him in a polite and a friendly manner, and soon the two get talking. Derry opens up his heart and tells Mr. Lamb that he finds most people unkind. They either avoid him or pitied him or called him ugly and made fun of him. Mr. Lamb realizes that Derry suffers from a terrible complex and subtly injects positive thoughts without appearing to be didactic. Mr. Lamb consoled Derry by giving his own example and said children teased him as Lammy Lamb, and he didn't feel bad about it. Mr. Lamb asks Derry to face the harsh realities of life bravely and not to fear anything, upon which Derry said that instead people were afraid of him due to his burned face. But Mr. Lamb was not repulsed by Derry and treats him like a normal person and understands his anguish and pain within and tries to change his perception by enabling him to understand that all human beings are same, like the flowers and the weeds created by God. The fact that Mr. Lamb can hide his leg under his trouser, but there was no way that Derry can hide his face, makes Mr. Lamb talk about beauty being relative. And he says that it is the inner beauty of the person that matters. Derry refutes the quote of handsome is as handsome does and regrets that no one will ever kiss him as his face is scarred and even his mother kisses him on the other side of his face. Mr. Lamb further mentors Derry to see people as individual beings. He emphasizes that people cannot be grouped together on the basis of their impairment, and one had to watch, listen, think to notice the difference. Further, when Derry brings to the notice of Mr. Lamb that there weren't any curtains at the windows, so Mr. Lamb told him that he did not like shutting things in and shutting things out. He manifested his desire and openness of mind by telling him that he liked light and darkness both. He wanted to hear winds. He wanted hundreds of friends to visit his house, and therefore he left the gates open and visualized people coming and sitting in front of fire in winter, and kids coming for apples, pears, toffees, and honey. Derry recalls an incident when he overheard two women talk about his face, and one of them commented that his face was such that only a mother could love it. So Mr. Lamb made Derry realize that he cannot just remember the bad things people say. On the contrary, he should hear the bees humming and not buzzing, meaning he should remember the good things and have a positive attitude. Derry tells Mr. Lamb that he would not have entered the garden had he known that Mr. Lamb was there, as it was a trespass, and moreover, he did not like being near people. So Mr. Lamb explained to Derry that the world was as one looks at it, and narrates a tale of a man who was afraid of everything, and he would shut himself in a room till a picture fell off the wall onto his head and killed him. Mr. Lamb encourages him not to feel bogged down by his facial scars, but be thankful to the Almighty God, for he had his entire body in a perfect working condition, and hence should not feel handicapped due to his half-born face. He had a brain with which he could accomplish anything to everything, and goes on to inspire Derry that the world was in his hands. Mr. Lamb further counsels Derry that people are never just nothing, and asks him to consider everyone as his friend, till proved otherwise. Mr. Lamb further guides Derry by telling him that nurturing hatred would do more harm than a bottle of acid or a bomb that can blow up the limbs. Derry offers to help Mr. Lamb pluck the crab apples from the trees, but complains that his mother would make fuss and that he needs to take her prior permission. Mr. Lamb says mother is just an excuse to not to come back again. He further pilots him by telling that it was absolutely fine not to agree to what others told him, and that he needs to wait, watch, and listen to exactly know what he actually wants to do. Derry defends Mr. Lamb and tries to convince his mother, and later defies her order and comes back to Mr. Lamb's house for inspiration to succeed in life. In the meantime, Mr. Lamb had climbed up the ladder to pluck crab apples from the tree. He fell down and died, and when Derry came back, he found him lying on the ground. Though Derry lost his only friend, yet he became strong and positive to face the world with his disfigured face. So what is it that attracts Derry towards Mr. Lamb? Derry finds Mr. Lamb to be different from the other people whom he had met. Mr. Lamb did not get scared of his burned face, and did not even question him about it. Rather, he talked to him in a loving manner and is positive about life. He inspires him and calls him his friend. He invites him to his house and garden whenever he feels like coming. He tells that things appear to be different from within, but all things are the same. He tells Derry that hatred can do much harm to him than a bottle of acid, and overall inspires Derry to achieve success in life and be positive. Hope children, you too were inspired by Mr. Lamb's ideologies and will imbibe them in your life to be successful. Thank you.